Breaking news. COVID-19 conspiracy theories, 6 tips on how to engage anti-vaxxers. Aurora Police Department apologizes after officers draw weapons on black family in stolen vehicle mix-up. Trump's real goal is for TikTok to disappear entirely, ByteDance CEO says. Necessarily a forced sale of TikTok, but given the current macro situation, a ban, or even more, according to a translation of the memo sent to China-based employees provided by the company. Microsoft, MSFT, has confirmed it is in talks to buy TikTok from ByteDance after President Donald Trump said he was looking to ban the app. Trump said he is giving the two companies until September 15 to strike a deal, otherwise he'll go forward with a ban. U.S. government officials have repeatedly expressed concern that TikTok could pose a threat to national security should the data it collects on its American users end up in the hands of the Chinese government. Under Chinese law, companies can be compelled to comply with government requests. TikTok, though, has said it stores its data outside of China and that it would resist any attempts by Beijing to seize the information. Zhang did not directly address the talks with Microsoft, instead focusing on thanking employees for enduring a wave of criticism he and the company had received on social media in recent days. Many people are angered by some of the actions of the current U.S. government, and this results in a lot of personal criticism of me. However, many people misunderstand the current, complex situation, he wrote. How TikTok users are reacting to Trump and number 39's possible U.S. ban. How TikTok users are reacting to Trump's possible U.S. ban. Addressing what he called anti-Chinese sentiment, Zhang went on to say employees should know that the company has to accept misperceptions in the market, and we have to be patient and not let short-term frustrations get in the way of our long-term success. In countries, such as the United States, in the current environment some politicians have forcefully attacked China, and in turn, Chinese companies, making it difficult to have a thoughtful and nuanced conversation about complex situations, he wrote. He urged employees to continue to focus on improving the app, embrace transparency, and protect customers' security. This helps us win trust around the world with users, and also helps people better understand our complex and unique story as a global company with Chinese founders, Zhang wrote. 17-year-old niece's Sunday when police drew their weapons on them. Gilliam said she, her sister and 17-year-old niece were handcuffed while police verified that the car Gilliam was driving was not stolen. A Facebook video shows the children on the ground in a parking lot, surrounded by police. They can be heard crying in the video. Onlookers try to intervene and question police about pulling their guns on their girls. Gilliam and the 4 girls all are black. The incident comes amid a nationwide reckoning over police treatment of blacks, spurred partly by the death in police custody of George Floyd in Minneapolis in May. Aurora police also have been under scrutiny for the 2019 death of Elijah McClain, a black man who suffered a heart attack after police detained him. I have called Gilliam's family to apologize and to offer any help we can provide, especially for the children who may have been traumatized by yesterday's events, Interim Chief of Police Vanessa Wilson said late Monday. I have reached out to our victim advocates so we can offer age-appropriate therapy that the city will cover. In an interview with CNN, Gilliam said she was taking the girls to get their nails done the day of the incident. Her niece had just gotten back in the vehicle after looking to see if the nail salon was open and she and the girls were parked in a parking lot with the car turned off, Gilliam said, when Aurora police pulled up behind her vehicle with guns drawn and yelled for them to put their hands out of the window and to get out of the car. Training and procedure under examination. Wilson said in a statement that drawing weapons is in the department's policy when police believe a car has been stolen. We have been training our officers that when they contact a suspected stolen car, they should do what is called a high-risk stop. This involves drawing their weapons and ordering all occupants to exit the car and lie prone on the ground. But we must allow our officers to have discretion and to deviate from this process when different scenarios present themselves, Wilson said. I have already directed my team to look at new practices and training. Officers were alerted to a possible stolen vehicle just before 11 a.m. Sunday, according to a statement from the department. They stopped a vehicle matching the license plate and description, ordered the people inside onto the ground and placed some in handcuffs, police said. After the stop, officers realized the car Gilliam was driving was not stolen, but that another vehicle with the same plate information but from a different state had been, police said in the statement. The confusion may have been due, in part, to the fact that the stopped car was reported stolen earlier in the year, the statement said. After realizing the mistake, officers immediately unhandcuffed everyone involved, explained what happened and apologized. An internal investigation has been opened, according to the statement. The Aurora Police Department has recently come under scrutiny for the in-custody death of McLean, a 23-year-old black man who was stopped by 3 white officers as he walked home from a convenience store. McLean was placed in a chokehold and briefly lost consciousness, according to a report from police. When paramedics arrived, they administered the drug ketamine to sedate McLean, the report said. McLean suffered a heart attack while in an ambulance and was declared brain dead 3 days later, the district attorney said in a letter. The police department fired the 3 officers involved. Colorado's health department has launched an investigation into the paramedics' use of ketamine. Last month, Wilson fired 2 officers who she said had taken selfie photographs at the memorial site for McLean in October, as well as a 3rd officer who she said failed to alert supervisors about the photos. A 4th officer resigned before a pre-disciplinary hearing. Wilson said one of the photos shows the officers smiling while appearing to reenact the way McLean was held in a chokehold. Gilliam and the girls got out of the vehicle and were told to lay face down on the ground, she said. At that time, police handcuffed Gilliam, her sister, and niece. Gilliam said the police wouldn't tell her why she was pulled over until she was handcuffed. Aurora police told Gilliam her vehicle was stolen, she said. Gilliam said she told them her vehicle has been stolen in February, but that it was cleared up. She said she offered to show them the vehicle registration and insurance paperwork. Gilliam's attorney emphasized to CNN that when the vehicle was stolen in February, it was returned to her the next day by the Aurora police. Gilliam said she asked why the kids were being handcuffed and she was told officers handcuff kids when they get hostile. If you wanted to place me in handcuffs at that point, I would have gladly agreed to that because you had a job to do and you did it under the right protocol, but you pointed a gun at 4 kids and then you proceeded to start handcuffing the kids, Gilliam said. Gilliam said police later told her about the mix-up. A protester holds an anti-vaccination sign as supporters of President Donald Trump rally to reopen California as the coronavirus pandemic continues to worsen, on May 16, 2020, in Woodland Hills, California. Coronavirus conspiracy theories fuel anti-vaccination protests. With prospects of a COVID-19 vaccine looking up, attention is also turning to the problem of anti-vax ideas. According to a recent survey, 1 in 6 Britons would refuse a COVID-19 vaccine when it becomes available. Although vaccine hesitancy is a complex problem with multiple causes, the number of conspiracy theories circulating about the coronavirus do not help. The fight against COVID-19 related conspiracy theories will be fought on multiple fronts. It requires a broad public health campaign and for social media companies to control the spread of disinformation. But all of us can play a part in this effort. Most people will know someone who has succumbed to conspiracy theories about the current crisis. Listen more. Disinformation campaigns are murky blends of truth, lies and sincere beliefs, lessons from the pandemic. I have been researching conspiracy theories for over 2 decades and have spoken to many believers. Here are the 6 rules I use for talking to conspiracy theorists in the effort to change their mind. 1. Acknowledge scale of the task. Talking to people who endorse conspiracy theories is inherently difficult. Simply laying out evidence or pointing out logical contradictions in the conspiracist argument is seldom enough. Conspiracy theories are, by definition, irrefutable. Lack of evidence of a conspiracy, or positive proof against its existence, is taken by believers as evidence of the craftiness of those behind the plot, and their ability to dupe the public. So arm yourself with patience, and be prepared to fail. 2. Recognize the emotional dimension. Conspiracy theories seduce not so much through the power of argument, but through the intensity of the passions that they stir. Underpinning conspiracy theories are feelings of resentment, indignation, and disenchantment about the world. They are stories about good and evil, as much as about what is true. This gives conspiracy theories a strong emotional dimension. Tempers can flare and conversations turn into a shouting match. It is important to prevent this from happening. Be prepared to de-escalate the situation and keep the dialogue going, without necessarily giving ground. 3. Find out what they actually believe. Before trying to persuade someone, find out the nature and content of his beliefs. When it comes to conspiracy theories, The world is not divided into believers and skeptics, there's a lot in between. A minority of committed believers treat conspiracy theories as the literal truth and are particularly resistant to persuasion. Many others might not see themselves as believers, but are willing to accept that conspiracy theorists might be onto something and are at least asking the right questions. Establishing the precise nature and extent of someone's belief will enable you to better tailor your response. Also, try and find out what specific conspiracy theory they endorse. Is it 5G or Bill Gates that they think is behind coronavirus? Or both? What videos or websites have they looked at? Once you find out, gather as much disconfirming evidence as you can from credible sources, including multiple independent fact-checking websites. Background research will help you to focus the discussion on the substance of the claims. Never question someone's intelligence or moral sense, as this is the quickest way to end a conversation. Listen more. Cultural factors in Africa are behind disinformation pandemic. Why this matters. 4. Establish common ground. One of the main problems with conspiracy theories is that they are not confined to tinfoil hat-wearing kooks or political extremists. In times of crisis and uncertainty, they can contaminate the worldview of otherwise reasonable people. Conspiracy theories make reality seem less chaotic, and tap into broader, often well-grounded concerns about the world, such as the concentration of financial and political power, mass surveillance, inequality, or lack of political transparency. So when talking about conspiracy theories, start by acknowledging these broader concerns and restrict your discussion to whether conspiracy theories can provide an adequate or meaningful answer. Many people come to conspiracy theories through genuine, albeit misguided, curiosity about how to make sense of the world. They sometimes see themselves as healthy skeptics and self-taught researchers into complex issues. Avoid criticizing or mocking this. Instead, present it as something that, in principle, you value and share. Your aim, after all, is not to make them less curious or skeptical, but to change what they are curious about, or skeptical of. Conspiracy theories often sound convincing because they start with the detailed exposition of credible scientific or historical facts. The problem is that these facts and arguments lead to extraordinary conclusions. The kernels of truth on which conspiracy theories are based are a solid starting point for a discussion. Agreement on at least some of the facts will allow you to focus on the leap of imagination that allows 2 and 2 to make 5. 5. Challenge the facts, value their argument. Debunking conspiracy theories requires a two-pronged approach. The first involves challenging evidence and its origins. Address specific claims and discuss what constitutes a credible source. Offer to look at the evidence together, including on fact-checking websites. If you are talking to a staunch believer, he probably won't even engage with you on this. But if he has not yet fallen down the rabbit hole, he might, and this may lead him to start questioning his views. The second approach involves challenging the relevance and value of the conspiracist case more generally. You may want to point out that throughout history, conspiracy theories have come up short. For instance, the long-standing claims by AIDS denialists that antiretroviral drugs are more harmful than HIV were not only disproven, but they contributed to hundreds of thousands of deaths in sub-Saharan Africa. More recent and similarly baseless theories about the polio vaccine causing sterility directly led to the disease resurging in Nigeria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. COVID-19 related claims are in the same genre. Setting these conspiracy theories in their historical context can demonstrate that they offer nothing new, and don't ask the right questions about the pandemic and its causes. This just might encourage the person to direct their curiosity and skepticism to more worthwhile concerns. Facts or fake news, revealing patterns in the COVID-19 tweets of Trudeau and Trump. 6. Finally, be realistic. There is, of course, no guarantee that this advice will be effective. There are no incontestable arguments or fail-proof strategies that will always convert a conspiracy theorist to skepticism. Therefore, set realistic expectations. The aim of talking to conspiracy theorists is not to convert them, but to sow doubt about an argument, and hopefully enable them to gradually build up resistance to its seductive appeal. The conversation. Jovan Byford is a senior lecturer in psychology at the Open University. Disclosure: Byford does not work for, consult, own shares in or receive funding from any company or organization that would benefit from this article, and has disclosed no relevant affiliations beyond his academic appointment.